Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Desi TV USA. I am Tabinda Girl. Let's take a look at the headlines. Trump slaps additional 25% tariff on Indian goods over Russian oil trade. Apple unveiled $100 billion US investment plan with Trump. Trump's hints at possible meeting with Putin after good talks. Brazil's Luis rejected direct talk with Trump over new tariff. Trump hails Apple's $600 billion US investment commitment. Texas Senate advances GOP redistricting plans to flip House seat. US envoy holds key talk with Putin ahead of Trump's Ukraine deadline. Disney beats estimates lifts forecast on streaming and park gains. Whitney Houston memorabilia set for auctions on August 11. And fashion entrepreneur Martha Nolan Slatra found dead at Montague Club. These are headlines. Lead to news detail. Viewers, now the top story is here. President Donald Trump has imposed an extra 25% tariff on Indian imports, citing India's ongoing purchase of Russian oil amid the Ukraine conflict. This raises the total tariff on Indian goods to 50%, escalating trade tension between the two countries and signaling Washington's tough stance on nations indirectly supporting Russia's war efforts.
President Donald Trump announced on Wednesday that the U.S. will impose an additional 25% tariff on India because the new measure raises tariffs on some Indian goods to as high as 50%, among the steepest faced by any U.S. trading partner. India's refusal to curb Russian oil purchases, which surged to a record $52 billion last year, ultimately triggered the tariff escalation.
I think that for President Trump, the issue really comes down to not necessarily economic issues or even India's relationship with Russia, but more broader geopolitical matters. President Trump clearly wants to help end the war in the Ukraine. I think that he is unhappy that Moscow has not heeded his calls for Russia to agree to a ceasefire or to stop fighting. And he wants to put pressure on Russia by putting pressure on India, a close.
Viewers, now Apple has announced a $100 billion expansion in its US operation, marking its largest ever domestic investment. The announcement was made in the Oval Office, where CEO Tim Cook joined President Donald Trump. The move underscores Apple's focus on boosting American manufacturing, job creation, and innovation amid growing potential and economic emphasis on domestic growth.
Manufacturing program, which will bring factories and assembly lines across our country all roaring to life. And Apple will massively increase spending on its domestic supply chain for the iPhone and will build the largest and most sophisticated smart glass.
Now, President Donald Trump stated that the U.S. had productive discussions with Russian President Vladimir Putin and indicated a strong possibility of meeting him soon. Trump emphasized the positive tone of recent communications, suggesting potential diplomatic engagement between Washington and Moscow, despite ongoing global tensions surrounding Russia's actions in Ukraine and its international relations.
A very good prospect that they will. And we haven't determined where, but we had some very good talks with President Putin today. And there's a very good chance that we could be ending the end of that road. That road was long and continues to be long, but there's a good chance that there will be a meeting very soon.
Viewers, Brazilian President Luis da Silva dismissed the possibility of direct negotiation with President Donald Trump regarding newly imposed U.S. tariff. Luis criticized Washington's unilateral approach, calling it unfair and counterproductive. The comment reflects growing tensions between the two nations as Brazil pushes back against protectionist policies affecting its trade and economic interests.
He could have communicated with Brazil. He could have called. He could have proposed a negotiation. But we received the taxation statement in a completely authoritarian manner, and we are not used to negotiating in this way.
Now, President Donald Trump is speaking from the Oval Office, highlighting Apple's pledge to invest an additional $100 billion in the U.S. raising its total planned investment to $600 billion over the next 4 years. The announcement signaled a major boost to domestic economic growth, job creation, and technological development as Apple expands its American footprint.
Did it with India. We're doing it probably with a couple of others. One of them could be China, yes.
Are you keeping that 10 to 12-day deadline that you had given Russia after today's talks?
Yeah, we're pretty much getting close to it right now, but we're having very serious talks right now about getting out of Ukraine, getting it settled, getting it ended. Should have never started, would have never started. If I were president, it would have never started. I want to thank Tim Cook. He's a great, great man, a visionary, a businessman, just about every quality he can have other than athleticism. I don't know.
Now, the Texas Senate convenes a special committee meeting on redistricting as Republicans unveil a proposal to redraw congressional district targeting 5 Democrat-held U.S. House seats. The plan intensified an already fierce political battle, with critics warning it could deepen partisan divides in Texas and influence redistricting strategies in other states ahead of the midterms.
Members, just a personal comment here. For the nearly 24 witnesses who did not appear today, invited witnesses, who I think who are very important to the process. We invited them because we trusted that if they had legal or constitutional concerns about the map.
Now, viewers, U.S. invites Steve Witkoff met Russian President Vladimir Putin for what a Kremlin aide described as useful and constructive talk. The meeting comes just 2 days before President Donald Trump's deadline for Russia to commit to peace in Ukraine or face new sanctions. Diplomatic efforts are intensifying as tension escalate over the ongoing conflict. Now, viewers, Disney reported stronger than expected quarterly result and raised its full year's earning outlook. The upbeat performances was driven by growing profit in its streaming TV segment and increased visitors spending at U.S. theme park. The result reflect the company's successful recovery strategies with solid consumer demand and improving margin across its entertainment and tourism division. Now, viewers, fan of legendary singer Whitney Houston will soon have a chance to own a piece of music history, as personal items once belonging to her are set to go up for auction on August 11. The collection includes state outfits, tours, and memorabilia, drawing interest from collectors and fans worldwide ahead of the event.
Because it's so important and it's Whitney Houston, we want these pieces to hammer at the highest prices possible because, again, it's all going back to charity. So we have this incredible Bob Mackie casino jacket, and as you'll see in the jacket, it has a roulette wheel, it has dice, it has the 777s, you know, really evocative of life in a casino. Over here, and these are some of my favorites, these are Dolce & Gabbana pumps from her 1999 My Love Is Your Love World Tour. Dolce & Gabbana was one of her favorite designers, which is why I am in homage wearing leopard myself.
Viewers, in the last, fashion entrepreneur Martha Nolan Slater was found dead on a boat at Montauk Yacht Club, Suffolk County. Homicide detectives have launched an investigation into her mysterious death. Authorities are examining the circumstances surrounding the case as the community mourns the loss of the noted designers and businesswoman. So viewers, thank you for watching and thank you for supporting. This is me, Tabinda, signing off. Stay tuned for more news. Desi TV USA, DTV, and another OTT platform, DTV Flix, where you can access to over 3,000 channels. So stay tuned and stay with us.
Neurological care is a pressing healthcare challenge in Pakistan. That's why Helping Hand USA is building Kind R, a world-class hospital with 130 plus clinics that is set to establish new standards for neurological care in Pakistan. As the first phase nears completion, anticipation is growing for the launch in the second half of 2025. Give zakat and sadaqah through Helping Hand USA today and join this historic endeavor to redefine future healthcare in Pakistan.